Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Let's get right into the work we see here. This is my client Alma. She's getting a set, you probably saw from the thumbnail, of gray Halloween nails, starting with pushing back the cuticles of all of her nails. And then I'm going in with my favorite bit. This is a Kiara Sky cuticle bit. I think it's called a cone barrel. But even though it's metal, it is safe for the natural nail. That is what it's for, on a low speed. So it's extremely satisfying. So it does get off all of the... You don't need a sanding band. You don't need anything else but this if you want to do all of your prep with this. My client's missed her last 2-week appointment, so she hasn't been here in a month. And she removed her own nails, so she does have a couple of little, I wouldn't say injuries, but a couple little marks on some of her nails. So if you see that, that's what's going on there. But she did come in today with naked nails, so that was nice to just start fresh. And her cuticles are very dry. You can see that I'm just getting a lot of dead skin off, and this is great because if I did not perform this step and just glued a tip to her and started putting on acrylic, she would be lifting within a day or two, which I'm sure if any of you have gone to and gotten your nails done at a place who doesn't do the prep can attest to the fact that your nails just pop, they start lifting right away. So this is an essential step to making sure that doesn't happen. It helps adhesion to get that nail plate scratched up a little bit, get the shine off of it, and definitely to get all that dead, dry skin around the cuticle and edges of the nail where lifting is most common. But look at this bit. I just love it. If I didn't say, this is Alma, my client Alma. I did post, I think, a black stiletto set that she got last time. So I'm just going with my dust brush and wiping off all the dust from what we just did. And I'm taking my cuticle ball bit I got from Profil's Backstage. It's a larger size bit. And if you watch carefully, you'll see I'm not going on the nail plate with this. This is strictly for the skin around the nail. And that is to, instead of cutting any cuticle, to buff it out. So here I'm going to take some Young Nails Swipe and a lint-free wipe and cleanse the palette of her nail to get all the little dusties out of every crevice. This also helps dehydrate the nail. And I'm going to take some, she wanted a coffin shape, and these are just the best coffin nail tips that I've ever found. The Kiara Sky C-Curve coffin tips. I'm also using the Kiara Sky glue. And if you notice here, I am placing the tip up near her knuckle and pulling it down. That's going to give you a tip that's on straight every single time. If you align that tip with your client's knuckle, even if their nail is crooked, if their finger is crooked, give that a try. That's a good trick I learned. I didn't mean to leave this in for so long, but my nail room was cold, you guys. I usually keep it at 76, and it was 70, which you will see when we start doing the acrylic that it did affect my application, and we'll talk about that when we get there. Right here, I'm just cutting the nails to the length she asked for and comparing both hands to make sure that they are matching in length. And to do that, I line the top of her cuticles up to the top of her cuticles, not the tips up to the tips. Now, I learned this trick just watching someone else. I don't know if you guys ever noticed, but you have a nice long coffin tip like the one I put on that's super narrow and perfectly shaped all the way to the edge. But your client wants them cut in half. They want them half that short. So now you have what was a coffin nail tip. It's not a coffin anymore. It looks like a square. And if you start angling and filing that nail, the sidewalls of it, to bring them in to be more coffin, it just never works out. You end up getting something almost like a stiletto, or you get crooked sides. I don't know. I saw someone doing this once, though. Filing up the sides helps the nail tip curve inward just a little bit, especially when that acrylic gets on and it hardens. It's going to harden in its weakest spot there because you've weakened that that sidewall just a little bit. If that all makes sense, it's going to help narrow out the nails. So here I'm going in with a lint-free wipe and some swipe again. This is Young Nails Protein Bond that I'm putting on all of her nails. This is a sticky layer of product that helps, it's essentially like a glue that helps the acrylic stick on. And after that, I'm going to go in with another layer, and then I go in with Profile's Backstage Profix, which is another brand of the same thing, another primer or bonder. You guys, if I don't sound well, it's because I'm not. I'm a little sick, so I'm sorry for my voice at this time. So right here, I'm going to go in. Anytime I do a fresh set, I like to go in with a little bit of clear to protect the natural nail from any staining, or also for when they come back for a fill or a design change, if they want a different color, I'm not going to be stuck with the color they had on. I can take it down to this clear and start from there and not have to get into her natural nail. Plus, this really helps blend your tip in so you don't have to do all that filing around the glue area of your tip. So this will blend your tip seamlessly, so your acrylic application will go really well. Pardon me. I am using Notpolish acrylic here in the color Desert Suede, which is this beautiful blue-gray color. She wanted to do Halloween nails, but she wanted to go a little outside the box. She didn't want green or orange or black. She just had a black set on. So we were looking at my colors, and blue is her favorite color, and she grabbed this, and just, our eye went to this. I said, what about gray? So we swatched all my grays, and this one was just what we went for, and it's really beautiful. I've never done a set with this color, so it looks really great. Okay, so this nail set took 3 hours from start to finish. So I do have the whole video sped up, but I did leave these two nails in real time so we can watch this application. I'm using my Young Nails Kolinsky brush, and I'm using Profile's Backstage Monomer. And like I mentioned, my nail room was about 6 degrees cooler than normal. And I want to use this example to show you guys how sensitive acrylic and monomer are to temperature, which is something I learned the hard way. I live in Arizona and started teaching myself nails in the summer, and that was very hard because I didn't realize that when it's hot, it hardens up immediately. When it's cold, it becomes very runny. So at this point, I was noticing that every bead that I picked up that normally behaved differently were a little more runny. So I kind of thought maybe it was the monomer. I haven't used the Profile's Backstage Monomer yet, except for just to swatch it a little bit. So I kind of thought it was that, but you can see my bead application is the same as normal. My liquid to powder ratio is the same. The beads are just a little bit dry around the edges, which is going to give you a nice, thick, malleable bead to work with. But as soon as I start manipulating that and getting some monomer in it, it starts running, and I have to pat and pat and pat and be very patient to keep that acrylic on the nail, or I'm just going to wipe it off. So if you'll see kind of the torture that it was to do each nail this slowly. So again, I did think it was the monomer, and on the second hand, I did switch to my Young Nails monomer, and I put a few drops of my Kiara Sky Monomer Enhancer in, and that did do the trick. I didn't want to turn the heater on in my room because it just would have made things stuffy. It's really not hot enough for a heater, although that 6 degrees was really making a difference. So that's why I left these two in real time. And it also helps show and teach how you should treat your acrylic if it is cold and runny, and how to work with it, and to avoid wiping it off and wasting it. So I'm just going to let you guys watch. Okay, so we are back, and the rest of the application will be sped up so you guys can just watch it that way. I wanted to check and see if any of you have got a hold of the Kiara Sky Monomer Enhancer yet. I didn't show the bottle in this video, but I think you'll be able to tell on the second hand how much easier the application was. The product wasn't sticking to my brush. It wasn't runny. There was a little bit of that because of the temperature, but you guys, that stuff is like magic. Have you ever done a clear set? Let's just say you have a really good brush, a Kiara Sky acrylic brush, which are really good brushes, and your client wants a clear set. You have to wipe your brush 3 times as much as usual with colored acrylics, I feel. The brush gets clogged. I usually will pull out 2 brushes because I know halfway through my brush is going to get clogged no matter how much monomer or wiping I do, because clear always seems to get stuck in my brush. I don't know if anyone else experiences that, even with a good brush. Good monomer, good clear, doesn't matter for me. So the biggest difference I noticed was when I used the Monomer Enhancer on a clear set. I didn't have to change my brush once. Every single bead I picked up was absolutely perfect. Anyway, it's magic. It speeds up your set time. It does something else, I'm not even sure what, but it does enhance the performance of your monomer, which is so amazing. I mean, the nail world has come so far. By the way, I did hear, this is a little strange side note. Earlier I said it was too hot in my room to turn the heater on it. Or whatever I said that backwards. Anyway, so I want to talk about pricing nail sets, and I want to talk about new clients. I want you guys to mention in the comments what you guys do about this. So, you know, I have several regular clients that I have on a 2-week rotation, and some of them to get people in the door when I first started doing sets, they say run a special, have a sale. Well, what I came up with was basically a flat rate. Okay, so how you as a customer benefit from this is you can come in every 2 weeks. You always keep nails on. You keep your appointment. You don't cancel. You have a standing appointment every single time you leave. Your appointment is 2 weeks from today. And so your nails are always fresh. They're always good. And you can have whatever set you want for the flat rate we worked out. So that's how you benefit, is you can come in and get some bling. You can get repairs. You can get your whole nail set taken down and a design change every time. That was to get people in the door. And I have found that a couple times I felt a little taken advantage of, like, boy, I should have said any set within reason. And I agonized over that for a while because it was getting to be a little much sometimes. So instead of agonizing about it, I thought, okay, I'm just going to talk to my clients and let them know, instead of you being here for 5 hours while I take down your set, let's use the phrase within reason. I still want you to come. I don't want to back out on anything I said. I don't want to change the deal you have. Offering this deal keeps me a regular client every 2 weeks. It's a great benefit to me. It's great an opportunity for me to do so many different sets and learn more and just get to do cool things. So there's benefit to me too. But it would probably be beneficial to both of us, to plan ahead. Like, what set are you going to get next week? That's how we can make a compromise. So if you're going to, next time you come, not next week, in 2 weeks, you are already thinking you want a fall set. Well, let's do something nude. So when you come back in 2 weeks, I don't have to take it completely down because you want something clear with flowers. Most time you have an idea in your mind of what you want because you're sitting here for 3 to 5 hours for an appointment and you're looking around at all my products and colors and gel polishes and glitters and stuff, and it's a certain time of year and everyone's getting Halloween nails or whatever the case is. You probably have an idea of what you want in your mind. And just having that conversation with each person just worked wonders. So I'm still on a flat rate with each of these clients, and they come back. They come back every single time. we have a great time laughing and talking and getting to know each other. And, I enjoy it. It's an enjoyable time. But I want to talk about new clients. So having started that special, naturally, I told any of my clients, here are my business cards. If anybody asks about your nails, give them my Instagram. Hand out my business cards. I'll definitely give you a discount if anybody that you refer actually comes to me and gets a set. Your next set will be $10 off. So I have definitely had some referrals from that, but the caveat was don't tell them what your price point is, because if they say, well, how much was your set, and you give them your flat rate and you happen to have on a set that we really went overboard for, they're going to think as a new client they can come in and get something like that, full length, marble on every nail or whatever, just because I kind of did you a favor and you're one of my regulars, So I have had that occur, and currently what's making me talk about this is I do have a potential client messaging me on Instagram right now telling me that she wants a full length set of square nails, just like the one she saw on my client when she ran into her where she works. But her budget is $65, and she wants marble on every nail and that full length. Well, those start at $85 one color for full length. If you want a marble design with 3 or 4 gel colors and glitter on all 10 nails, you're looking at $100, $125. For me, that's how I price. If your budget is only $65, my short sets, one color, start at $65. So that's what I can do for you. And every single morning, you guys, she's ignoring that. And every single morning, texting me, are you available today? Can we stay in my budget? And I have to tell her every day, if your budget is $65, what you can get is a short set, one color. Yeah, but I want the square and my budget is $65. Oh, okay, you can have the square, but it's going to be short. No, she just every single day keeps asking me the same question. So I feel like not answering her anymore. Like, I've already given you the answer, but I don't want to be rude because she's a potential new client. She did tell me that she would come every 2 weeks and be loyal, but come on. I don't know. So what would you guys do in this situation? You guys, please leave a comment. Tell me how you price. I feel like a lot of times in the nail world, people just keep that secret. I don't think we should be secret or transparent about our prices, because we should charge what we're worth. It's a lot of our time. These products are expensive. Pardon me. For me, I use all Notpolish. All Young Nails or Kiara Sky. I use the best stuff because it performs the best for me. I don't expect that to affect my client's price point, but your set is going to last. You're not going to have any lifting. I do a really good freaking job. And the only time people come back at their 2-week mark, having lost a nail or with lifting, is when they injure themselves. They jam their fingernail somehow. It never just lifts or pops off because of my application or my products. So there's that too. It's not just my time or my effort or my skill. The prices are the prices, and your budget is your budget. So how would you guys handle that? I'm interested to know. And I'm also interested to know if your short sets, one color, start at $65. Do they cost $125 for full length design on each nail? Do they cost $85 for full length, one color? Tell me what your guys' pricing are. Please, let's be transparent about it. I think we should all learn to be competitive with our pricing and not be afraid to charge what we're worth, and not be afraid to tell each other what we're charging, so that we can be competitive in our field. So let me know about that. So right here, we're almost done. I don't know if you guys can tell from the past couple nails here that we are having much better performance from switching to the Young Nails Monomer and adding Kiara Sky Monomer Enhancer. Doing the same liquid to powder ratio, the same bead application I always do. I don't know if you guys are beginners or skilled or not, but I learned this watching V Nailed It and Tao from Notpolish on their tutorials. Just one day I was watching both of them. Well, probably not the same day, but while watching both of them, I noticed that when they place a big bead, a small bead, any bead down, the bead always looks a little dry and crusty around the edges. And that is how you tell your ratio is right. Did you see this when I just put it down? How as soon as you start tapping and blending it, that melts away. But your liquid to powder ratio, you should be putting down kind of a dry bead. It's really not dry, but it's going to look dry. If you don't start off with that, your product's just going to run. So that helped me a lot. I started holding my brush in the acrylic longer, just, an extra 2 seconds to pick up a larger bead for the amount of monomer I had in my brush. And it just made a world of difference. Instantly made a world of difference. And I instantly knew I had my liquid to power ratio down. And it's been true thus far. I have learned so much watching skilled people. This is why I really wanted to put up tutorials, because as I learn and as I get more opportunity with different clients to do different sets, I just want to give back. And I'm not saying I'm, great at it or anything, but all the little things I've learned, I would love to share. My day job is managing a restaurant, so my number one thing I do all day at work is train. I love to teach, and this is just so cool to me. So cool that I can get up here and talk, and hopefully some people want to watch. I love it. So I'm going to get off of here and stop blabbing and let you guys watch just a little more, and after this, of course, we will get into filing. Okay, I jumped back on because, as a side note, I forgot to mention when I was talking about pricing. I also hear all the time, like if I've ever asked about pricing or I see someone post a question about pricing from skilled techs, you'll ask somebody who has a lot of followers on YouTube or Instagram. You'll see a question, or you'll ask it yourself. What did you charge for this set? Oh, well, that depends on your area. That depends on your skill set. Definitely depends on your skill set. It depends on how long it takes you to do it, and etc. But if I'm asking what you charged for that set, I mean, it means that I can do that set, and I would like to know what I should charge to do that set. So none of that equates when you say, well, it depends. No, it doesn't. And it doesn't depend on the area. I live in Arizona. Why should it be cheaper here than it is in Florida or California? I mean, I get if I'm doing Khloe Kardashian's nails in Beverly Hills, and I'm not asking what you charge for that. Obviously, they pay $500 every time they get their nails done or something like that. I'm not asking someone who's not comparable to me what they price. I'm asking because I see that that's something I can do, and I would like to know what I should charge to do the same thing. So let me know if you've encountered that. People not answering you because they have reasons about time or skill level or products or your area. That just annoyed me just the most, your area. Why should that matter if I can do that same set you did, whether it's a challenging set or a simple set, whatever set I'm asking about, or I've seen other people ask about. Instead of being evasive, why don't you just say, yeah, I charged $125 for this, or I charged $200 for this, and say why? Because of the length, because of the bling. I definitely do hear and see some YouTubers that I watch who are transparent, and I just love it. I am going to watch you every single day. I know you're being real, you're being honest, and I honestly just don't even want to now watch people who can't just be straight up about pricing. Like, why? What is that weirdness that's in the nail industry? I don't know. If you guys have a comment, post it down below. Okay, so right here I'm putting the thinnest little layer of some Notpolish clear acrylic over this set. A couple reasons. Number one, just to make mention, Notpolish colored acrylics do not need to be capped in clear. You don't need to go thin with the colored acrylic and then build the bulk and shape of your nail with clear. You don't need to cap it. I sometimes cap it, sometimes don't. The reason I did here was because I felt like my application shape was that I wasn't going to have to do too much correction. They weren't lumpy, you know. So that just kind of smooths everything out. It gives it that one smooth top layer. And when I start filing, I'm not digging into that gray and possibly going to expose a tip or, you know, ruin my shaping because now I'm filing the clear, if that makes sense. So I just felt like capping these, and sometimes I do. So right here, I did mention in my last couple videos, and at the end of this video, I did add a little clip to show you guys what I'm talking about. But at my nail supply store, I've mentioned this before, they have these little clear, I would call them pencil cases, but I don't really know what their real name is. Again, at the end of the video, you'll see what I'm talking about. I have one of those cases with my clients' names on them for the tools I reuse on those clients. So obviously, any stainless steel, nail clippers, cuticle pushers, bits, any of that gets sterilized, sanitized, and put back into rotation and used on someone else. But these files, this is my client Alma, as I mentioned, so she has her own little box. And in that box, before she comes, I have the sterilized implements that I plan on using for her set. The cuticle pusher, the bits, everything that I was just mentioned that was stainless, that's already been sterilized. I'll grab her little case with her name on it. In that case is already these files that I used on her last few sets. These are really good files. This Notpolish file, the Profiles Backstage sponge buffer that I use here in a little while, and the Tammy Taylor peel and stick. So this in particular, this Notpolish file that I'm using right here, this is the third set I've used it for, and you can see it's still, I just call it a beast. It's just a beast. It takes off effortlessly, whatever product you want. It's really, really just amazing. Very sturdy and thick. It took me a while to get used to it because it's kind of wide and big. But yeah, anyway, this file does look used because it is used. It was used on her last two sets for her only, and it stays in her own little sterilized box. And I only pull it out when she comes. I grab her little container that I will show you at the end of the video. And the Tammy Taylor peel and stick, same thing. When I'm ready to peel and stick a new file on that, the plastic piece gets sterilized and we put a new sticker on it. The Profiles Backstage sponge buffer, amazing. Later on, I'm going to use it for, I'll talk about that in a second. But when you use that whole buffer on a client, you're using maybe 1/64th of the area of that big buffer. Why are you going to throw it away as soon as you're done with that? You can't use it on anyone else. You can't sterilize it, so it's just a waste. But they're like the best buffers, so I'm going to buy those. So when I saw these cases in the nail supply store, and I asked the guy, because right away I thought, I bet this is for saving files, because I'd heard that on someone else's channel. Anyway, if you're not doing that and you have regular clients, do it. If you can't find those little cases, I don't know if they're on Amazon or not. Like I said, I get them at my local nail supply. But it's going to save you a ton of money instantly on files. So as I'm going here, if you'll notice, I'm heavy-handed with the file. I like to do my shaping with a hand file. I feel like I have more control. I can feel the nail as I'm going along. I brush it off with my Notpolish Ombré brush just because it's like a stiffer bristle and it really gets all the product off as compared to my rose dust brush that I'll use, you know, just to get dust off the fingers. But I'm always supporting that nail, especially a nail with length. I will have my finger under it, on top of it, on the side of it. You can see here, literally, I'm holding that nail everywhere I'm not touching it with a file. That way she's not getting any jarring up her hand. I also definitely like to file vertically like this, up and down. I don't know why, it's just my little trend. It just, of course I do the side to side and everything else, but to get the shape, this filing right here, what I'm doing, it just works the best for me. After this, I will take my Notpolish, here it is, Notpolish medium grit barrel. It's a medium barrel, I don't know. I have it on about a 12 or 14 speed on my e-file. And with this bit, I'm going to take off all the scratches that I just made with my file. And when I was filing, I didn't file on or near the cuticle area. I leave that alone until I get in here with this bit. Now this bit is a safety bit, so I can let it lightly glaze across the top of my client's cuticle, only because I am lifting it after every stroke and not holding it in one place. Don't be mistaken that because it's a safety bit that you can't cut your client with it or you can't burn them with it. Yes, you can. If right here, for example, I pushed that bit into her flesh, you know, an accident, if I made a misstep, that would cut her, because the only part that's safe is that tip of the bit that you go around the cuticle with. Anyway, I learned that the hard way when I was beginning on myself, that yeah, you can cut yourself with a safety bit. So I don't know if you guys notice, even though this bit gets up and seals my cuticles, so I do use this bit to seal the cuticle area, make sure it's nice and flush to the natural nail. And this motion that I'm doing coming up right here, this is sealing the cuticle. This is making sure that there are no ridges or anything that's going to catch for the next 2 weeks when my client wears this set. But do you see the little white line of crusty, dusty that is left remaining where this bit doesn't get in? The cuticle's sealed, we're good, we're done there. But right around that cuticle area is still left, and it's not just dust. If you get a dust brush and dust it off, it's not going anywhere. You need to buff that off, or you need to get another bit and get in there. I've discovered that if I get another bit and get in there, then I end up making scratches in my cuticle area, and then I have to go back in with this bit and smooth it out again. So one time while I was doing my own nails, I thought, well, I wonder if I just take my sponge buffer and go around the cuticle area again, and because that won't hurt if I do it lightly. So I tried it on myself, and you'll see that that's what I'm going to do with my sponge buffer. On the next step, I'm going to take it and I'm going to lightly buff all of those little crusties out from her cuticle area, and you'll see after she washes her hands that the application is completely seamless there. There are no more dusty crusties. This is what I'm talking about. So it looks like I am going on her skin with this, and I am. This is gentle enough for that. I'm using very, very light pressure. And while I'm at it, if I see any area of the nail that I want to smooth out, I do that as well. I don't buff the surface of all of my nails because I can't draw. I don't do nail art. I can do a few little things like the drips I did here today, but I can't draw, guys. If you come in and want me to paint you a Mickey Mouse, that's not happening. I'm not artistic. Going in with some Glossit from Notpolish. This is a gel top coat that is amazing. It's super shiny and lasts and lasts and lasts and lasts. Best top coat, go get it. she's going to have some nail decals applied, and I learned the last time I did a set with nail decals, I stuck the decals on the bare acrylic. By the way, my client did get up and go wash. That's why her cuticle area looks so clean and seamless there. And this little tool I'm using here is actually from a dental kit, you guys. Like if you have a crown that pops off and you go to Walgreens and get one of those kits that is like putty that you can like build your tooth with, that's where I found these in one of those kits. And I was like, huh, that'd work great around the cuticle. So that's where I got those. Anyway, my last set where I used a nail decal, I went in on the bare nail before top coating. And as soon as, because I didn't want 2 layers of top coat, putting gel on your nails, even if you go lightly, even if you wipe off the edges, it is going to make your nails thicker. It is going to make all that sharp, beautiful shape that you just spent half an hour doing rounded out and dulled out, so you don't want more than 1 top coat. With this top coat, you definitely don't need more than 1 top coat. So the first time I put on a decal, I again put it on a bare nail. She came out, I top coated it to seal it in, and I could see on the nail all the way around the sticker, the clear parts of the sticker. It just didn't look good. So I discovered that you have to put down a top or base coat first and then apply your decal and then top coat. So unfortunately, you do have to do 2 top coats on the nails you're using decals on, or 2 coats of gel. So here I'm going in with that D&D color I showed you guys. It is a really beautiful glittery red. Used this last year for Halloween and Christmas. And we're just making some blood drips. I'm going to go in with some Young Nails Cuticle Oil. She came in really dry, and I think her nails and cuticles just look great and hydrated and plump and healthy at the end of this. This is why people come. You got to take care of them. Make them look beautiful. After this, we're going to do a couple poses. Hi guys, I wanted to jump on here one more time. In my last video, I mentioned the pencil cases that, well, I call them pencil cases. They're for nail tools that I keep for my clients when they come back. So I have everybody's names on it. So for example, today when Alma was here for the set that we just watched, these are all the tools I used on her. These stay in her box. These get sterilized and, reused. These don't get used on anybody else but her. So these go back in her box after it is sterilized as well. And that's why over here, all you see in these boxes are files. And when you get them at the nail supply store, they come like this, empty with a little name tag. So again, just to make that little note, if these files look used when I'm working with her or my clients, they're used only on that client. But these last for way more than one set. These are, beastly, really good. These are also really good, and you only use them for super minimal amount when you're doing a set. And of course, these get sterilized and peeled off. But yeah, guys, get you some of these.